Hey, welcome back. I'm Gary.
And I'm Vonna.
Yep, that's us. Uh, and this is video number 2 of the Queens Sampler Project sponsored by Sassy Jacks Stitchery. And you can still join. It's not a stitch along. So if you want to get involved, as you'll see here, we aren't that far along. Vonna's a lot farther than I am, but you can join. Kit's at Sassy Jacks. Kim's got them all set up, so you just got to call and she'll fix you up. But yeah, it's not too late. Dig in. It's fun. Okay, maybe not. Yeah, it's fun. But I've thrown away a few pieces of thread.
Me too.
Yeah, but that's part of it. I mean, I feel like already I've learned a lot, so I'm good.
I will say that I was just telling this to my husband last night. I feel like once I got over that first hurdle of understanding how I can do reversible cross stitch, I feel like I have learned a lot, and I'm feeling more self-confident.
Yeah, yeah.
Until I look at the chart and see that Montenegrin stitch is coming up soon.
Yeah, I got to admit that one's making me a little nervous. When you got to write a book about how to do the stitch, a literal book like that thick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's good. That's going to be interesting. The doodle cloth will be a rag before that gets stitched. Yeah. So okay, so you did the top band, the alphabet, and then now you're down to the satin stitch, the second band.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you cooked right along because you got going on the cross stitch because we're doing this reversibly.
Right.
You got going on the reversible cross stitch, and you got and as I've learned too, once you get going, you can motor right along.
Yeah.
Once you get the hang of it.
Right.
Yeah. So we're doing, and it's interesting, and this was not planned. We're doing 2 different reversible cross stitch techniques, and the Linda Vinson, this woman's amazing, isn't she?
Yeah.
She has this chart this little sampler thing she put together that is called Reversible Cross Stitch Sampler with scissors, fob, and needlebook. But who cares about those? What it is it shows 4 different ways to do a reversible cross stitch. So I'll hold that up so people can see that. So that's this chart. And Kim has these at Sassy Jacks. I'm sure you can get them at the attic and other places, but Kim has a supply at Sassy Jack. So if you call, just talked to her yesterday about it. If you call, she already has these and can send this out. And well, we were both trying to figure out how to do reversible cross stitch and went through several iterations, and you got the hang of it and went. And I was still struggling. And then when this came with the note from Linda Vinson that said she used technique number 4 because it was easier for her to grasp. And so that's what I tried. And then once I did that, then I was off and running too.
So is that what she used on the back of hers?
No, it doesn't show that. No, on hers, she did not use that on the thing, but she said to me that was the easiest one for her to understand.
Oh,
but I see. Yeah, I did look. I did look on the pictures that come with her chart to see how she did the back side, and she did it
like me, didn't she?
Yeah, she did it like you because everybody wants to do it like you.
Exactly.
Yeah, everybody wants to be like Vonna.
That's right. Yeah, she did it like me.
Yeah.
So that's the back of hers.
Right. So yeah, she has X's on the front and the back.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so you did that, and then I did mine here. Make sure that's in the center. Can you see? Mine is. I did it so that there's boxes in the back.
Right.
Because that's technique number 4 in her chart thing, and that's real easy for me. That was easy for me to get a grasp of. Was doing it that way. And actually, when I stitch these letters, I'm not even stitching on the front. I stitch on the back, and I just make boxes to form the letter and let the X's be what they are in the front. So, and that has allowed me to motor right along too, relatively.
So what are you up to, D, E?
E. I mean, I started E last night. Yeah. So
once I got going, now that you've got it, you'll just zoom.
yeah.
Well, I better
Well,
get going.
yeah. Because I was amazed when you got the whole alphabet done there. And then I thought, wow, it's taken me forever just to get the first two. And then once I got going, I thought, oh, now I see how she got them done. Once you get the rhythm and understand how reversible works,
Right.
whichever technique, you just go and your mind adjusts. It was the mind adjusting for me that was so hard.
Yes, and you got to think about, or I found that when I was doing this, I had to think every time I laid a stitch, how is that going to lay on the back? You have to think about that. How's it going to lay on the back? Is it going to go horizontal? Is it going to go vertical? How's it going to go? And then once I kind of started thinking in those terms, then it was just like, go, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Same for me because like I stitch on the back and I just make boxes, but every time I make a come up from the back side at a corner, then I've made an X on the front side. And so same for me, I have to think about, okay, did I go over that X one time too many? Because you end up going over the same cross a couple of times at times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you can't make them, the top cross can't always be the same way or it just won't work. So I've had to tear out a couple of stitches because I realized, wait, I've been over that top X or that X on the front side 3 times. I can't do that. I got to go back and get a different path. But yeah, so that's worked for me, and I just stitch on the back side, and it works.
The one thing on my variation, what I found to work for me. So on the variation that I use, you're laying the first leg of your cross stitch, whichever way it's going from one corner to the next corner, it doesn't matter. And the next stitch that you lay is going to either be horizontally or vertically. And so you kind of want to think, I found myself, and every time when I was first starting to learn this, I was like, well, that's what Gary meant by stitch path, 3-4 months ago when you asked me if do stitch paths. And I was like, no. But you have to really think about it on these, because when I was doing it, I had to think about, okay, when I lay this either vertical or horizontal stitch that goes alongside or on the top of the X, where was my next stitch going to be so that it would lay right on the back, but be able to cross the X. So anyways, once I kind of got the hang of that, then it went really, really fast. And in my thoughts, there's some of my stitches on here where the X has a horizontal or a vertical stitch on either both sides or on the top and the bottom. And you know what? I'm not worrying about that, because you really can't tell unless you're looking like just sitting here and looking at it. I can't really tell which one has a lot of them, or has one, but there are a couple, because you would get like on this snowflake. Okay, so you would get down here and you get this done, and it's like, well, how am I going to get back over here to do this leg? How am I going to get it back over here? And so you would just have to recross the X, or I would sometimes just go vertically or horizontally with a horizontal line, because sometimes I tried to cross the X's on the back side and not on the front side, so it wasn't so thick on the front side. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah,
because Vonna's technique is to make an X, but then there's at least one vertical stitch with every X on your technique.
Yes.
And then my technique is X's on the front and boxes on the back.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure that I'm going over one arm or the other of an X more times than you have in order to make that box on the back. And I have to do it, and I have to watch my stitch pass so that I end up, so I can go on to the next X or the next box. I can't end up over here when I need to be over here, because it makes a mess. So you have, and that's the thing for my mind is you got to be thinking about that stitch path all the time. Where am I going to end up if I do this? And is that the right spot? But
Right.
yeah, it starts to just get ingrained and work. But I mean, I still slip up. Like on this, oh, wanted to show, here's the front. See, I have X's
Right.
on the front, and then I have boxes on the back. But now on this top bar here, I just noticed today that I was stitching late at night, and it's not going to work. I was stitching late at night, and I messed up here.
Over to the right. We can't see it. We can just see your, yeah, right there.
Right. And so I messed up, and I have vertical lines where it's supposed to be open space, and now I got to tear that out and rework it. But that's okay.
Yeah.
I just got sloppy, and that's the thing. You got to be on top of it all the time, or you'll end up with an error.
Right.
And the error is on the back side that you don't see.
Yeah.
And you get cocky, and you go, and you don't, well, I'm sure you've done it, and then you flip it over and go, oh, geez.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You do get cocky. You think, oh, I got this. And
Right.
you don't.
Well, and that, I think that the mental part of this is we're making X's. So we lapse into the automatic cross stitch.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy. TV's on or somebody's talking to you. You just start making X's, and then you realize, no, I can't. And yeah.
No, you can't. And I've caught myself more than once doing that. And that's the thing that I was telling my husband the other day. I said, I used to do this, just get up here and cross stitch and just not think, and that was like kind of my therapy. And I said, now it's like doing a Sudoku or however. I said, don't go puzzle or whatever it is. It's like you have to sit here and like think hard how you're going to stitch. But I will say this, I'm hesitant. Like I keep on thinking, should I get out Sarah Brazier and stitch her a little bit? Or should I do something, should I stitch something else? And it's like, I don't want to, because it's almost like I know it's a puzzle and I have to solve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of like solve it. So
yeah. No, it's been fun already. I've enjoyed the challenge just for that reason. Yeah. It's a puzzle. I got to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. And see, I've never been in it for a challenge. You know what I mean? That's why I said, when you said, well, yeah, why would you want to learn something new? Why would you want to challenge yourself? It's like, I thought, I didn't want to challenge myself. I didn't care about the puzzle aspect of it, but I will say that it is, I feel I'm learning a lot, and I'm gaining more confidence that I can read the pattern. But I will say, when I got down here to this, because there is no pattern for that on our chart. Do you know that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And it's like, so I was like, well, how am I going to do that? Where am I going to do this? What am I going to do? And so I started reading, and it's like, oh, it's in the stitch diagrams, and you just keep on following that over and over and over until you get to the other side. And I didn't so that's and I will say, even though that's just satin stitch, that's hard for me to think about how many threads and all of that you're going over on a satin stitch. That's hard for me. And I was telling Gary this the other day. I started out just doing the vine so that I got the vine down. And then last night I put my first acorn in because I just wanted to see, is that right? Have I stitched it right? Well, anyways, I got to over here and I was like, I don't know what it was, but I was off on something. I can't even remember what it was. And so I had to rip all of this out. So really, I have stitched over to here in real life, but I had to pull it all out. So anyways, and I will say, I do like those little acorns. And just a heads up for people that haven't gotten to those yet, watch your stitch diagram, because all of this little stuff in there, you have to count. I can't tell you how many times I unstitched that cap of that acorn last night. That was, I just don't know. I was just going. And, well, the first time I stitched it, I just went straight all the way across with no dot, with no pattern. And then I looked at, can I just say thank you, Linda Vinson, for putting in those cover models front and back of that. that I have found that just to be very, very useful to see, you know, what it is. And so
Yeah.
I was looking at this. I had this acorn cap stitched, and I was like, I don't think that looks right. And so I looked on Linda's cover model, and I was like, wait, that has a pattern in it. I'm not seeing a pattern. So then I had to look really close. It's like, well, you doofus, you didn't stitch the you know, the legs right on the cap stitch.
Yeah, because see, she includes, and these are giant. These are like 11 by 17. The full front, and then equally or maybe more valuable
Is the
is
back.
is the whole back.
Yeah.
You get to see both sides of her stitching, and to me, that's I'm with you. Without these, yeah.
And that had to cost her extra money to include those because they're printed on the 11 by 17s. That had to cost extra, and they're all color. It had to cost extra. And I'm just saying, thank you, Linda Vinson, for doing that, because my word, that is priceless when you start stitching this. Now then, you've seen, that just made me think of something. You saw the queen in real life, and did she have that framed reversibly, Gary?
No, I do not think so. No, because we never looked at the back that I recall. No, I mean whatever's in that video I did with her is what I saw. I didn't see anything otherwise, and I don't think it was done reversibly. No, no. But I think, you know, because originally I wasn't going to do it reversibly, and then you started doing it that way. I thought, well, then all right, I'm going to dig in. I mean, it's your fault, but because I was just going to stitch it, but then I thought, no, I'm going to dig in here because you know, this is an opportunity to learn these things. And already I feel, yeah, I'm with you. I feel more confidence, and I feel like I've expanded my technique ability. And
I'm not, yeah, and I'm not arrogant enough to think that, oh, this is going to be so easy, because, like I said, the Montenegrin stitch is coming up. I keep on getting a little panic when I see that, oh gosh, slow down, because the Montenegrin stitch is coming up. But I will say that I am very glad that I took this on, and you will, and I mean, we kind of kidded about it in our talks, but I really did not want to do this, really. I said yes because Gary was like, come on, you can do it. And I was like, okay. But I really was very hesitant and didn't think that I was capable of doing it. And I don't mean that as like for people to say, oh, Vonna, come on, you are. No, I really did not think I was capable of doing it. And it's just like what Linda Vinson said in the video that Gary did with her, and what many people have said since then, it's just one stitch at a time. And I think that it's more easy to defeat yourself mentally than what the needle, thread, and linen will defeat you. I think that mentally you can defeat yourself, but not the linen and thread. They can't defeat you. It's you defeating yourself.
Yeah.
So I have kind of thought that as I've been stitching it. And then it's kind of like, you know, okay, so I started out stitching, and Gary will attest to this. I was texting him, I don't understand this reversible cross stitch. I do not understand it. I cannot do this reversible cross stitch. And I thought, who gives a crap if it's reversible or not? Who's going to see it? And then I had like half of the first alphabet line cross stitch, just cross stitched. And then I thought, we're going to be doing these videos, and I feel like people are like holding me to a higher level than what I'm holding myself. And so I thought, you know, I'm not going to let this defeat me. And so I ripped all that out, and then I started really working on my doodle cloth on reversible cross stitch. And finally I got the hang of it. And I'm glad that I persevered with that, because I wasn't going to worry about what the back looked like. But now I'm kind of glad that I did, because I think that's really helping me as a stitcher, like kind of think in those terms about how legs lay on the back or the front or however you're doing it. So I'm glad that I did that, and I'm glad that you felt like you needed to do it after I did, because I think that's going to make us better, you know, in the long run.
Well, I mean, we just kind of talked ourselves into this project anyway. I wanted to do it, but I was looking at it, oh, in a couple of years I'll do it, and we just kind of egged each other on to the point where here we are today. But yeah, no, I've not, and I'm not real pleased with the stitching on the front. You know, I mean, under normal circumstances, I feel like I would do it a lot better. Like certainly if it was just straight cross stitch, it would be a lot better. But I mean, it looks good. I'm happy with the way it looks, you know, from any distance. Under the magnifier, I'm not so happy. But the techniques that we've learned, you know, I just feel like I just really feel like it's good progress and a good learning thing. And I'm really liking the boxes on the back. You know, that one thing that I've thought about, and of course, there's no reason you can't do it the other way. Like I could be making the boxes on the front and have X's on the back and have a different look in the cross stitch. And that's what Linda shows in this thing here. Is she shows the different things, and then reversibly it can be this or that, it can be an X or some kind of pattern on the back. And no, I'm in. It's fun. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah. Oh, I do want to say who was that? Yeah, my art jar. My art jar.
Oh, that's nice.
It's getting full. Yeah. Yeah, I got that from some wood turner guy, I think in North Carolina. It's gorgeous. Yeah.
That's nice.
I didn't hold that up so people could ooh and ah over my art jar, but it's full. I have to empty it. There's been many a thread gone away on this, but I do want to point out MC Lamb in the midweek chat on the 24th for people who watched this long afterwards. But when we're recording it, it was yesterday that I did with Arlene. Somewhere in there, apparently, we talked about away and waist knots. I don't remember. Just part of the conversation. And somebody said that they had never heard of away or waist knots in the comments. And it's number one, it served to remind me that as we do these things, we forget that there are always people who this is new stuff for them. You know, we assume that everybody knows what an away knot is and what a pin stitch is. And it's like you've got several videos that show those techniques. And of course, Mary Corbett is the great library of all of these techniques. And but we forget. And so what is that? So I'm using an away knot on mine. Let's see, is that right?
Yeah, yeah, right there.
Okay, I'm using an away knot on mine, and it's this light yellow stuff, so you can't really see it. So what I did was I threaded up a dart needle just so you could see. And for an away knot, I just make a knot on the at the end of the thread, and then you just come up here wherever you need to come up to make your stitch. And so on the front side, if I don't drop this thing, on the front side, then you're ready to stitch on the here. Is that better? Yeah, you're ready to stitch, but on the back side you have this long thing. And then I make the length of the away knot, the piece long enough so that I can comfortably then when you're done, you want to anchor that, then you just snip off the knot and you have this length of thread. And I make sure I make it long enough so I can put a needle in and then anchor it. And in the case of these letters, I'm using an away knot on the back here. And then I'm using it to, when I come to the front, because you have to anchor on the front. You can't anchor on the back or it ruins the boxes. So you have to anchor on the front. So I come to the front, and so I set it up so that when I come to the front, it completes a box on the back. If that makes sense. And then I come to the front, and then you can anchor under all those X's. And but so you just make sure that you make the length long enough so you can comfortably thread the needle and anchor it. And then I think that the subtle difference for a waist knot is that you put the knot in and then you stitch over that length so that you anchor it as you stitch. And then you just cut it, and that's waste, and you throw it away. So same basic technique, just at one you anchor at the end, and the other you stitch over it and anchor it as you go. Because that you use that a lot or more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. But I'll be honest with you, since he's doing away knots. See, this is another thing that we're doing. He's doing away knots. I'm doing pin stitch on. I've done a pin stitch on all of mine. And I was showing Gary before we went live that there's a couple of. So what I do, like on these, how did I do that? on this one, like you can see that there's like a little bit of a on some of mine, and that's covering a pin stitch because I always started my pin stitch where I knew the next thread was going to cover it. So some of them, if you're looking with a what is that?
Magnifier?
I was going to say microscope.
Oh, that'd be fun.
When you're looking at it with the magnifier, you can kind of see like what went on right there. Like something went on. But to me, I just can think about it easier than an away knot. but then when because I knew what a waist knot was, but I didn't know what an away knot was. And Gary explained it perfectly. So that's what I wasn't connecting either at first until I read about it, and I was like, oh, that's the difference. But I've been doing the pin stitch.
Yeah, yeah, and I've been now on this top band up here. Then I've used the pin stitch all the way along because that's easier to hide. And it's easier to set up. But on these letters, because of the technique I'm using for reversible, I have to have open boxes on the back. Then I have to have some other technique for starting the thread, and then you can anchor on the front because it's so dense on the front that you can easily anchor and no one can see it.
Right.
And so that's that's pretty straightforward there. So everything in mine is anchored on the front. There's nothing anchored on the back. It's all anchored within the X's on the front, and you can't see them. And I just take my time and weave it through and make sure that it's tied down. But but that's to me that's the other fun thing about this is depending on the stitch and what we're doing, it forces you to use those different anchoring techniques to get the best result, especially reversible, so that you can't see.
Right.
Yeah. So that's been there's so much learned already just in this little bit. It seems like that's nothing, but if you could, well, I got it all set up over here, but my doodle cloth is a mess already. I mean, I've been through it and thrown out and everything else because I set up my lap stand and my little tabletop magnifier light, and I just have the doodle cloth set up so I can just turn over there and practice and come back here and do this at will. And I just keep it like that. And it's amazing how much learning has gone on just in this little bit. And then it looks like I got to really pay attention when we get to the satin stitch. I thought that was going to be a mindless trip across this thing, but apparently not. So.
No, it's not. Or I mean, at least it's not for me. But I have problems with I didn't do good in organic chemistry when I was in college, and it was because of spatial, dimensional type things. And to me, even though this is like satin stitch is one dimension, it's still just kind of like throws me off for a little bit. And it's all that spatial stuff. So maybe this will help me my brain be better doing this whole thing, because I know a lot of these stitches are going to be spatial, dimensionally challenging. So anyway, I think it would be interesting if you hold up yours and I hold up mine, the backs of them, so they can see the difference, what it looks like, since we're both using different stuff.
Well, we can do that.
Okay, yours needs to go to right there.
Yeah. So you can see the boxes in my letters, and Vonna has X's on both sides.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So it's good. And then I just call attention to these things, these peels that Vonna sent me, that this batting stuff, and then these peel things. Yeah. And boy, these are fantastic.
I know.
They just keeps that batting right over the edge, so when I rest my hand or rub it across the linen, I'm not touching the linen at all. And
then I like them on the top too, because I always hold up here a lot of times.
Oh.
And so I put them up there. I put mine up there too. Did you put yours up there too?
I never touched the top.
Oh, well, I put mine up there. I sent you the boy colors and I took the girl colors, but I thought you'd appreciate that.
I didn't pick up on that, but okay.
Yeah, I kept the girl colors.
Okay. And then anyway. show your mitten clip thing.
Oh, okay. So I use roller frames, and my roller frame, I've heard people like really complain about roller frames. They can't get side tension right here. And I think there's other scroll rods where they say you can't get good side tension. And so I didn't realize that this was a product. Somebody told me on Facebook like a week or so ago that, oh, those are called side tensioners and they sell them at so and so. Well, I didn't know that. This was a completely, in my mind, Vonna made up, I created fire, kind of situation. But really, I didn't.
Don't you
So
hate
what
that
this,
when you think you're really original and you find
I,
out, nah, not even close. Yeah.
I thought the quest for fire had been solved when I've done a lot of things, and no, it had already been solved. Anyways, so this is just mitten clips. Now I have two different kinds here. These square kinds are from Joann's, and they were on sale recently, and I bought several of them there. But these other ones come from Amazon, and if you just put pacifier clips or mitten clips in the search bar on Amazon, you can get like, I don't know, a lot of them for like $10, and they're fine. They're all the same kind of clip. And then this is they'll I don't know, it's hook and loop kind of stuff, but it's not like where the Velcro has one of the loops and one of the hooks, and it's two pieces. This is just one piece. So on the front side, it's the loops, and on the back, it's the hooks. And so no matter how you wind it, it just stays. And I got this also on Amazon, and it comes in a roll. And so I just put my mitten clips on the Velcro, and you want to have a pretty long length of this Velcro because, depending on how much, width, if I have like 5 inches, because my fabric's going to start here, you need them longer. So I cut my Velcros in like 10-inch strips. And then you put the mitten clips on and you wrap it around your bar. And then you put this, so like when I do this, if I want to like do all of these and hook them, you just pull your fabric up and push your mitten clip down and then snap it. And you do that on both sides like that, and see how it's holding it really tight? So it's like drum tight.
Yeah.
So that's my mitten clip.
Yeah, that Velcro stuff, if you want to actually see it and feel it, Home Depot in the tool section, contractor type people use that kind of stuff for cords.
Oh.
All the time. So
oh,
there's
is that what that's? See, I didn't know that.
Well, yeah. But you can go to Home Depot or whatever, and then you can actually see it, different widths, different lengths. And but yeah, I would agree. Get something that you can cut to whatever length you want,
Right.
so that you have variation. Yeah.
Yeah, and I when I did start doing this like maybe in January, and it made a huge difference because until you can get great side tension on a roller frame when you have like equal twists on the top and on the bottom. But when you're starting, it can get a little loose. And when you're ending, you've stitched all the way down and you're down at the bottom, it can get a little loose. When it's in the middle, like if I rolled this top one down and this was in the middle, it would be pretty tight. But I found particularly in the start and at the end, it can get loose. So that's how come I went looking for a solution, and I came up with that. So
Yeah, no, that's a great solution. Yeah, because that, like my Millennium frame, it holds it the same all the way across. I don't have that issue, but the previous scroll frame that I had, that was always the problem.
yeah,
It was always, and I never had a solution for it, and I hated it because
right.
it was just so sloppy, and that would eliminate that completely for really little to no cost, really.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't cost very much.
Yeah.
I'm all about cheap. And then another thing that I have found, okay, so you see, like I use my fiber talk. You see, that's how I do my fiber talk. My threaded needles. So I'm working on the vine. So I just thread up like 10 needles, however many strands that's on that soie d'alger.
Soy d'alger.
Yeah, right. Is there like 10? How many strands is there? 8, 10?
6, I think.
Oh, no, there's more than 6.
Is there?
Yeah.
All
Anyway,
right, just a
take
minute.
a whole.
I'll count while you talk.
Okay, I take a
Don't
whole.
pay any attention. I just use them till they're gone.
I take the whole thing and thread them up, and then that way I can just go to town, go to town, go to town. And I have learned that when I empty a thread, rather than put it on another needle minder, I glued magnets on the top of on the sides of my roller frame bars on both sides, and I put, see, I keep my threader on one side, and I put my empty needles on this side. I've got magnets like these glued all over the thing, and I just love them because on my case creation stand, you know how they have that wood thing that holds the ball. I have 3 earth magnets glued in a row on that, and I put my scissors on that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yep. Oh no, that's just it. Do you use the Neil Diamond magnets, right?
Yeah. Neil Diamonds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crackling Rose.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, I like the way you use your threads on the magnet because I have like when I'm going to do one color for a long time, I have this little piece of felt.
Oh yeah.
And so I'll just put them in there. But now with this bigger magnet thing, I'm going to use your technique, and I'm just going to thread up a bunch and put on the.
Right, and sometimes I'll like take them and wrap them like this.
Oh, so they're not getting all tangled up with something.
Right, but now this last few days I've just been taking them and then I tuck them down in there like that.
Yeah. No, I really like having a bunch, especially if you're using the same color a lot.
Right.
Just do up a bunch of them and then just go. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
I've been doing. I like that technique because then I don't have to. Sometimes thread and needles can get for me it can get hairy because you're using a 28 needle and it's hard to see sometimes or get the thread through there, and so I just have found that doing it all at once that helps.
Yep. I count 7.
7. Okay.
That's what I count. But now after we're done, I'll go back and recount, and it'll be 8. But no, I count 7, so I think I'm okay. All right, that's what we have, I think.
Yep, that's what we got.
Update. Watch us on Instagram, Vonna Pfeiffer and Fiber Talk on Instagram. We're doing updates as soon as I put up an update. And people have been posting at Sassy Jacks. And if you want to join this little educational fiasco, Sassy Jacks has the kits for the Queen Sampler, charts and everything. And then Kim, like I said, Kim will also have the reversible cross stitch charts from Linda Vinson. She has them in the shop or will have within a day or so. So contact her for that. If you've never done reversible cross stitch and really have little or no reference, I really suggest that you get this. There's 4 techniques in here. And so you can try them all and see which one speaks to you. Because the only thing that really matters is you get an X on one side and the back side is whatever it is, but you're consistent. So whichever one hooks up with your mind is the one to go with. And that's what happened with me is Linda said, try, because I had written to her on the side and said, man, I'm really struggling with this. And she said, try this one. It was the easiest for her to latch onto in her mind. And boy, I'm good to go now. So.
And Gary told me to try that one, and I tried it and was like, this sucks. I can't figure this out.
Yeah. So with 4 techniques, you should be able to find something that connects with your mind.
Right.
So, okay, that's it. Thanks for listening. And yeah, there we go.
Bye-bye.